In this video, we will learn about the VTP, that is VLAN trunking protocol with the lab. In this lab, you will configure all the three modes of VTP, and finally, you will also verify the connectivity between the VLANs. So let's get it started with our lab. I have taken a simple topology in which we have three switches, and each of these switches needs to be configured into various VTP domains. So the first switch, it is switch 0. This has to be configured as a VTP mode server. Switch 1 to be configured as VTP mode transparent, and switch 2 has to be configured as a VTP mode client. Also, we have to create VLAN 10, which belongs to the IT team, and VLAN 20 on this switch that belongs to HR team. We also have to create a VLAN 20 on our switch 0 and VLAN 10 on our switch 2, that is this switch. At the end of the configuration, we will need to check the connectivity from this VLAN 10 present in switch 0 to the VLAN 10 which is present on switch 2, which belongs to the client VTP mode. Okay, so at the end, we will check the connectivity between VLAN 10, which is present in the VTP mode server switch, to the VLAN 10, which is present on the client mode VTP of the switch. Okay, in order to save time, what I have done is I do not want to configure trunks on each of the port. So I have used the concept of dynamic trunking protocol here, because you're aware that by default the switches will have dynamic auto on all the switches by default. So I have kept the way it is for this particular port. I have not made configurations for this port that you see, that is on this. I have kept the way as dynamic auto, the way it is, but I have made changes for these two ports. What I have done, I have configured these two ports on this switch 1 as a trunk. So you're all aware that when there are two switches, and if both the switches are dynamic auto and dynamic auto, you cannot form a trunk. Okay, so the trunk is sorry with this thing. Yeah. Okay, so if both are auto and auto, trunk is not formed. But If it is auto, enter trunk, or auto or dynamic desirable. Okay, you can form the trunk. Okay, so let's verify the trunk connectivity. And also, you should be aware that if one of your switch is dynamic desirable, okay, and you have another switch which is dynamic desirable, okay, in this case, you can still form trunk, okay, so trunk can be formed. So let's verify. I go to switch 1, go to enable mode, and just type show interface fast ethernet 0/1 switch port. You can see a trunk is formed on this. Why? Because I have configured this port as a trunk port. So this particular port automatically forms a trunk because earlier it was dynamic auto. Okay, so the auto gets converted to trunk. Let's verify the same on this particular port. So just go to enable mode, show interface fast ethernet 0/1 switch port. So what do you see here? Yeah, there is a trunk formation because a trunk was formed earlier. It was pre-configured. So you see it is a trunk. Okay, let's verify. So now you have verified that these two are trunk. Let's also verify between these two ports. Just go to this particular fast ethernet 0/1. Show fast ethernet 0/1 switch port. So what do you see? Yes, you can see the trunk is formed. So it's very much evident that all the three switches are in a trunk mode. Okay, so we're good now. And I have also pre-configured the IP addresses for all these PCs. So now first, let's go to configure our switches one by one. Let's verify the running configuration on the switch 0. Show run. But we need this particular Ethernet, which is fast Ethernet 0/1. As of now, there is no any configurations that you see here. Okay, the host name is still the switch. Let's verify if we have VLANs. Show VLAN brief. As of now, I have not configured any VLANs, so you do not see any VLANs here. But let's verify what has happened to fast Ethernet 0/1 because you do not see here. Okay, we don't find that. Just give in show internet interface fast Ethernet 0/1 switch port. It's in trunk. With the access mode of VLAN 1. Let us now configure on switch to a client mode VTP first. So first we will go to switch 3, configure this as a client. So what we can do, just go to this switch, verify the status first, show VTP status. You are seeing the domain name is nil. There is no domain name. Okay, and this is performing as a server. You need to change this from server to what? Client mode. Okay, and there is no domain name. Okay, the revision number is 0 because we have not done any configurations. So let's begin with the configuration of this switch 3 as a client mode. So you just go to configuration mode, VTP mode, client. So you can see setting device to VTP client mode. We also need to give a domain name. So we will give the domain name is VTP domain Cisco. So earlier you found that the domain was nil, so it is changing to Cisco. Let's just verify. Do show VTP. You can just exit out. Just type do show VTP status. Yeah, here you can see your VTP operating mode has changed from server, which was earlier by default. It has changed to client, and you had nil for domain name earlier. From blank, it has changed to Cisco. Okay, so we have successfully configured our switch as a VTP client mode. Our next step is we need to configure switch 1 as a transparent mode. By default, this switch will also be in a server mode. The reason why we are configuring it as a transparent mode is because we do not want it to participate in the VTP domain. And this switch will also show the server mode by default, and it will automatically pick the domain name Cisco that we have just configured on this switch. So we had domain name Cisco here. This will be automatically picked up by this switch because this switch was a server mode already. But let's go ahead and check it to verify. Go to enable mode, show VTP status. We are doing this on our transparent switch. Let's see what you get. So I have not configured this as a transparent mode yet. Okay, so this is still in the server mode. Let's convert this from server mode to transparent mode. So you can just type it as VTP mode. Need to go to global configuration. So VTP mode transparent. So you can see that it is being setting up from server mode to VTP transparent. Okay, let's verify with do show VTP status and see what happens. Do show VTP status. I don't think it may come up, but let's verify. Okay. Yes. You can see it was server mode earlier. So this has changed to transparent mode. I have not configured any domain name because all I did was I have just given the VTP mode transparent. I did not give domain name here, but it has automatically picked the domain name from the client mode VTP which was present on this particular switch. The moment this became transparent, the domain name Cisco has automatically picked up. But when it was server mode initially, the domain name was nil. This was earlier. The moment we configured it as a transparent, it has picked up the domain name that we just configured on this client mode automatically. Okay. So now our last configuration is we need to configure our switch 0, which is our first switch as a client mode. That is, we need to configure this as a, I'm sorry, yeah, we need to configure it as a server mode. Okay, yes. So let's begin with the configuration on our server mode switch. So I will go to this switch and verify the status, show VTP status. You can see that by default, this is already in server name, but it is not showing the domain name yet. After a while, it automatically popped up the domain name. So it has automatically taken this domain name from the neighbor switch because this had a domain name Cisco already, which came across from this particular switch. And this was already in a server mode. It took a while initially. You could see that the domain name was showing null value. And if you wait for some time and do show VTP status, you can see this domain name has automatically popped up. Let's give a try to create a server and see what error it gives. Okay. All right, so let's go to our switch. This is what you see here. It's Cisco by automatically is what it has been popped up here. Okay, so go to global configuration. Interface. You don't need to go to interface. You can just say VTP mode server. It's telling you that this device is already a server. Okay. Now you want to change the domain name, right? If you want to give a domain name, so VTP domain Cisco, it's telling you that the domain name is already set to Cisco. So I have not done any changes here. this was already a server mode and it has already taken the domain from this transparent mode switch. Okay. Now we need to configure VLANs on our switch 1. Let's configure it on our server mode first. Okay, so we have VLAN 10. Okay, it's already written here. So we have VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. Let's configure the VLANs. I will take a range. Okay, I'm in the switch server. Yeah, so I will take a range because we have fast Ethernet 0 and 2. So fast Ethernet 0/2 /3. Okay, I have to give a VLAN name. So what I will do here is switch port mode access switch port access VLAN 10. Okay, so VLAN 10 is created. Name was IT team. We will give that name later on. Okay. Okay. So we had VLAN 10 configure VLAN 10, and what was the name? Name was IT team. Okay. Okay. There should not be space. Yeah. So IT team. But we also have another VLAN here. You need to configure this on your fast Ethernet 0/4. So let's do that. Go to this switch again. Go to global configuration. Interface fast Ethernet 0/4. Yeah. Switch port mode access. Switch port access VLAN 20. Right? Yes. So VLAN 20 is being created. We need to give the name that we have for VLAN 20 is IT team. Sorry, HR team. So just go to global configuration, VLAN 20, and you give the name. Name is HR team. That's it. So these are the changes that you have done. Let's verify this. Show VLAN brief. Okay. Okay. You are able to see that you have your two PCs connected on /0, /2 and /3 for IT team, /0 for HR team. Okay. Now let's verify what is the VLAN here, because the characteristic of a client mode is that it should get this VLAN information synchronized automatically. Let's verify. We don't need to configure the VLANs automatically. It should get these details here. That is why client mode has been configured. Let's verify the same. Show VLAN brief. Okay, whatever VLANs that we created is right here. We did not do any configurations. Your VLAN 10 and VLAN 20, you created it on your server, right? And you have not created it on your client mode, but it has already taken those details from the server mode switch. It has taken this details, the VLAN information, not the port numbers, not the port numbers. Don't get confused. It just took this information. That's it. Okay, so let's just connect the ports that we see here in our VLANs. Just go to this server. Go to this switch. Okay. Go to global configuration mode. Again, I would like to go range command because they are all in the same VLAN 20. So you have this /2 and /3, and they are in VLAN 20. So I go fast Ethernet 0/2 and 3. Okay. So they are in what? Switchboard mode access, switchboard access, VLAN 20. Right? Exit out. Again, you have this VLAN 10 on your fast Ethernet /4. Let's configure that. Let's go to global configuration, interface fast Ethernet 0/4. Okay. Switchboard mode access, switchboard access, VLAN 10. Let's verify. Show VLAN brief. Yeah. So earlier, the function of this client mode was it just took these details, but it did not have this port. And this port is what we just configured on our client mode VTP switch. Okay. Okay. So let's verify if we have a connectivity between these VLANs now. So if you try to ping from this PC, which is in VLAN 10, to this PC here, which is in VLAN 10, but they are on a different switches, will it ping? Obviously no, it will not. What is the reason? Because between this server mode switch and your client mode switch, when the packets are flowing here, this transparent mode switch does not have any VLAN information because transparent mode switch will only pass the details, but it does not participate in the VTP domain. It doesn't synchronize the VLANs. You will need to manually configure these VLANs on your transparent mode switch because your VLANs are absent. You were able to say that your client mode automatically took this VLAN number here, but not present on your transparent mode because it does not participate in the VTP domain. Let's verify with this command VTP show VTP status. You will see there is no VLAN on your transparent mode switch. Let's verify. Show VTP status. Yeah, it's transparent. Show VLAN brief. There is no VLANs. If there is no VLANs, there is no possibility for the switch to store the VTP details. Sorry, the VLAN details in its VLAN table. There is no way that PC1 can communicate with this PC because it doesn't have any VLAN information. If VLAN 10 is telling that it wants to go to VLAN 10 here, it does not have the details in its VLAN table. Okay, but let's check if it is pinging from here to here. You will see it's showing that the packets are dropping. Let's verify. Just go to this PC here. Though they are on the same VLAN, I'm pinging from this PC to this PC here. Both are on the same VLAN, but they are on a different switches. Ping destination 10.10.10.3, which is this PC over here. You're trying to ping from this PC to this. So you're saying request is timed out. So what is our next step? We need to manually add VLAN 10 VLAN 20. Okay, let's do that now. Go to global configuration, create VLAN 10. Okay, so you need to give the name. What was your VLAN 10? IT team, right? IT team. You have VLAN 20. And what was the name? HR team. Okay, that's it. Now verify show VLAN brief. You can see that. Okay, something is wrong. You need to change that name here. Okay, configuration VLAN 20 and name is given as HR team. Verify it. Show VLAN brief. Yes. So now your transparent switch is able to learn the VLAN. So now it should let you to communicate from the host that you see here. It should let you communicate from this PC to this PC now. Okay, why? Because you have manually added VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. Let's verify. So let's go to our PC here and ping this PC, which is 10.10.10.3. Okay. Yeah. So ping 10.10.10.3, which is a VLAN which belongs to the same VLAN 10, but it is on a different switch. Yes, it's pinging. Why? Because the transparent mode switch has learned the VLANs when we have manually added the VLAN details. Okay, if not, it was not pinging. But until now, whatever we have done was we have pinged from one VLAN to the same VLAN. Okay, but if you want to ping from VLAN 10 to VLAN 20, which is just on a different subnet, it's not possible because we don't have a router. Okay, we do not have a router, and in that case we will be performing an inter-VLAN routing, which we will learn in our next video. I hope that this video has been helpful to you all. See you in the next video.